I want to welcome and thank you from the bottom of my heart for being here in person to honor the life of Austin. I look around and I see so many of Austin's friends and family that loved him more than anything. I know for some of you this was not easy. You flew into town, or for others you fought through personal demons just to be here in person. Your presence is the gift, especially to Jamie, Haley, and Chris. Later in the service, I'm going to ask you if you would like to share a memory, a story, or just what Austin meant to you and how he impacted your life. So please be thinking about that. That said, no pressure. Feel free to cry, not cry, be mad, be silent, laugh. There is no right or wrong when it comes to your expression of grief. How do you begin a memorial, a life celebration service? The only thing I can think of is hope. Romans 15:13 says, I pray that God, the source of hope, will fill you completely with joy and peace because you trust in him. Then you will overflow with confident hope through the power of the Holy Spirit. I would like to take this opportunity to present a hug ring to Jamie and Haley. When I lost my brother last year, it was a great comfort to me. And now that Austin has left us, I don't know any other comfort than a hug. Every time you look at this ring or feel it on your finger, just know that Austin is right here. He's right there. Remember how big his heart is, and let this be a constant reminder. I love you. At this time, I would like to ask Cole to read a super comforting passage. Cole?
Thank you. I know Austin meant a lot to me, and all to you guys as well. I did want to share one quick little story that I did have when I used to live here for a short time. Thank you very much for that, guys. When I was living in the spare bedroom, he used to be very mischievous, and he was very good at sneaking out. And when I moved in, he taught me how to. Well, I guess kinda, because I was really heavy back then, and I couldn't make it very much down the roof. And at one point, I tried to, and I broke the tiles. And that was the moment he looked at me. He's like, "Never again, bro." He's like, "Never again." And we used to scale the fence there like a cat at the end of the night. And he was very, very, very quiet. And he was very good at it. And sooner or later, he would just leave me in the bedroom. He looked at me. He's like, "You can't break another tile. It's too loud." And so that was the end of that. And so we'll share some more stories later. For John 4:14, 1-3, do not let your heart be troubled. Believe in God, believe in also in me. In my house, in my Father, my honor, and many rooms. If that were not so, I would have told you, because I am going there to prepare a place for you. And if I go and prepare a place for you, I'm coming again, and I will take you myself, so that where I am, there I will also be. Jesus promises that he will also be waiting for each of us, so he can guide us home, that he might enjoy the fullness and perfect, intimate relationship with him for eternity. I know that Austin was very spiritual in a lot of different forms, and he always talked to me about a lot of different Bible verses through the home he was at. That was a very holistic place, and he was catching a very good story, and I was proud to have gotten good verses from him that I'm looking back at throughout my texts. And I know that he's in a happy place. He's home and he's safe and he's warm, and I don't have to worry about that. I wish I could get one hug, one last laugh. But I love you.
Thank you, that was beautiful. I read this piece again today and thought, wow, this is something that just resonated with me. and I hope it will with you as well. You are holding a cup of coffee when someone comes along and bumps into you or shakes your arm, making you spill your coffee everywhere. Why did you spill the coffee? Because someone bumped into me. Wrong answer. You spilled the coffee because there was coffee in your cup. Had there been tea in the cup, you would have spilled tea. Whatever is inside the cup is what will spill out. Therefore, when life comes along and shakes you, which will happen, whatever is inside you will come out. It's easy to fake it until you get rattled. So we have to ask ourselves, what's in my cup? When life gets tough, what spills over? Joy, gratefulness, peace, and humility? Anger, bitterness, harsh words, and reactions? Life provides the cup. You choose how to fill it. Today of all days, let's work towards filling our cups with acceptance, gratitude, forgiveness, joy, words of affirmation, and kindness, gentleness, and love for others. I know this is what Austin would want for all of us. The kid that was the life of the party, the one that brought us all together, the spontaneous one. So what I'd like to do now is Jamie and Chris put together what we call a statement of love. We had a couple conversations about different phrases when it comes to a life celebration, and we came up with statement of love. I'm going to stick with it. I like it. So these are the words from the family. First, I want to thank all of you for joining us today to remember and celebrate our Boogie Austin. We also want to thank many of you for your love, support, and generosity throughout this past month. We are so grateful for the visits, meals, flowers, cards, walks, hugs, compassion, listening, and loving conversations that helped us make it through each day in the face of such heartbreak and devastation. As you know, on the morning of December 13th, we got the dreaded news that our beautiful son Austin was stolen from us at the young age of 23. He fought a long 5-year battle with the disease of addiction, and our love simply could not protect him from this. He brought us so much joy. The news of his arrival changed our lives forever. We had a real purpose in life, which was to give him all that we could with our best efforts. We loved being a mother and a father to him and experiencing life with him. We too were young, so sort of grew together in this life. He was truly the best child we could ask for as a firstborn. He was a natural addition to our lives. He was silly like his dad and witty like his mom. His intelligence and good looks were the greatest mixes from both parents, and I agree with that. He was a loving, compassionate, and sensitive young man who loved to bring joy into others' lives. I can hear his laugh. I feel the silly snuggles that he still gave to us even as a young adult. Anyone who shares their experience of knowing Austin, how they met him, what he meant to them, and how he impacted their lives, they have a resounding common theme. They felt important to him, and that he really cared about them specifically, like no one else could interrupt the connection they were forming or had formed over the years. He made everyone he interacted with feel as though they were the only ones that mattered, and they felt understood and accepted by him. Each one of you that was close to him, even if it's for a short time, has shared that he was your best friend and that you would spend every day with him if you could. I love that. And I have to stop here for a second because look what I found. Every Christmas, Austin would say to Jet or Jet Body. But it was always, right, Jet? It was always from his number one friend, Austin. So I had to share that. And I can't believe I found the card. I was thrilled. Okay. Sorry. It makes us so proud to know what an incredible human he was to so many others. He fought for his love of God and Christianity in his early teens. I believe he even converted a few friends. As he grew older, he realized and wrote more about his spirituality, specifically putting good out into the world and the good will be returned. He was searching for what felt right to him during a battle that could not be won. He lost his life at a time of extreme depression, anxiety, and confusion. He did not deserve to die at the hands of an exploitive, corrupt, immoral drug dealers during this terrible fentanyl epidemic. But today, we are celebrating his life and the wonderful qualities that he brought to this world, and remember him with love and gratitude for that time that we shared together during his lifetime. Some of our favorite memories of him young are watching him reach milestones, so I closely studied. When Dad would care for him while I worked nights, he would have the baseball game on, and Austin would follow the ball in the game before he could talk. It was adorable. Dad also loved to play loud, heavy metal music for him, so he would never be bothered by noise. I loved to read to him at night. I loved the whole nightly routine and making breakfast and lunches before sending them off to school, where I also went to volunteer. He is and will forever be our Boogie, and that is a story I would like to hear why. It's funny, he never seemed to mind the name or when we called him Boogie, and no one ever made fun of him. So I guess we picked the perfect nickname. Many of my favorite memories came from his time spent with friends. Austin always had many friends, and they always came to our house one at a time or in a group. The boys were always so silly, but never any trouble, and they always seemed to get along. So many of you out there today are an extension of him and our love for him. That you are our children and have been for some time now. We were lucky enough to hear your high-pitched squeals turn into deep man voices that carried the same bit of silly when you got together. We loved every bit of mess you all made having fun. We loved the silly string stories, the paint, and airsoft BBs that can still be found around today. We loved the trips many took to Mammoth with us, and even overhearing the conversations you all had while gaming. That was a big one. As Austin grew older, he had many friends we didn't see much of, and he had his own life of memories only he and you know. Those stories mean the world to us, so please share them today and forever as you remember them. If he pops in your head and you remember something great and want to share it with us, please reach out. We want to hear them and we'll always be here to listen. Thank you, Boogie, for choosing us to be your parents. We love you forever, like you for always, and as long as we are living, our baby you'll be. That was beautiful. Really well done. At this time, I would love to invite Aaron up to share a passage. And from what I'm understanding, we're going to hear the English version and the Hebrew version. So boys, come on up, okay?
Hello. So today I'd like to read a passage in Hebrew for Austin. Unfortunately, my Hebrew is not the best, so I'm going to have Evan start by reading in Hebrew, and then I'm going to read the English translate for all of us. It's called the Mourner's God.
My Hebrew's not the best either,
But it's much better than mine.
so Aaron asked me to do this. So the mourner's cottage, it's basically just when we lose someone we love. It's basically even though we lost them, we still believe in a greater purpose, God, something bigger than us, so we can still live forward and live good lives. So that's what this passage is about, basically.
יתגדל, יתקדש שמי רבה, אמן. בלמה דברה חירותי, ימלך מלכותי, בחליכון ומיכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל, בעגלה ובזון, קריב ומר ומי. יהי שמי רבה מברך לעולם ומעלה עלמיה, יתברך ויתברך, יתפרר יתרומן, יתנשא, יתהדר יתעלה, יתהלל שמי קדושו, ברכו ליל מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, דמירן, בלמה ואמרו אמן. ישי שלמה רבה מן שמריה וחיים טובים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרואיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן.
Now I'll read the English translation. Let Adonai's name be great and holy. Amen. In the world that was created as Adonai willed, may Adonai complete the holy realm. in your own lifetime, in your days, in the days of all the house of Israel, quickly and soon, and let us say amen. May Adonai's name be great, blessed forever, and long as the world endures. Blessed and praised, glorified, exalted, extolled, honored, adored, loved, and be the name of the Holy One, blessed by God. Beyond all the blessings, praises, collisations that are ever spoken in the world, and let us say amen. May there be abundant peace from heaven and the life of godness, from us and for all of Israel, and let us say amen. May the one who created us, peace in the heights, create peace for us and for all of Israel. Let us say amen. Thank you very much. So growing up as a kid, I was Austin's Jewish friend, and obviously Austin was the Jew, as you call me. Very spiritual, growing up, Austin was Christian, I was Jewish, and today I'm now a Jew for Jesus, and I want to give Austin a big piece of that. Jew for Jesus, so he did convert a lot of friends. Me and Austin would debate, as kids for hours and hours about God and Jesus, and growing up throughout the years, I watched Austin spiritually evolve, and, he would always joke with me. He was a Jew for a day when he was at my house. So he'd wear the yarmulke when he'd come over and just play around, so, a lot of good memories, and, my faith today is based off, Austin. I don't think if I would have never accepted Christ if Austin had come into my life, so he's a big piece of that. So I want to share that. Yeah. You want to say something?
Sure. So I didn't know Austin very well, but I was always part of the friend group, and I always had him over when we had like get-togethers and stuff as friends. And he always had really good energy. Like he was always in a super happy, positive mood, and definitely left an impact on me. So yeah.
And I actually would like to read something someone sent me, a former classmate from elementary school, about Austin, and she described the way how Austin was memorized by her. So I can read that for you guys really quick here. It's a message she sent me. So this is from someone named Gabby Stetchel. I don't know if you guys remember her. Gabby Stetchel. She was one of the twins. There was a Sammy and a Gabby. Yep. Okay. And she sent me this about Austin. It was beautiful. She said, let's see, Austin was such a kind person. I was actually just thinking about him yesterday and was wondering what he was up to. I just remembered how much he would make me laugh, and so effortless too. And how he would seem to just milk the most out of every moment and he was enjoying. His laughter and interest and excitement towards something in the moment was always so infectious. And that was something I always loved about him, and I wish I got to see more of him. Which, as everyone knows, talking to Austin, he would milk the most out of every moment. 100%. She couldn't have said that any better. And he, his interest and excitement whenever he found something he loved was crazy. From volleyball to airsoft to paintball to scaring the shit out of me, whatever it was, he would find a way. So, his interest and his energy was just the most infectious I've ever seen out of anyone. And I have a lot of energy, so. Yeah. Of course, it was great to share.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, I think we've reached the best part of today, because we have come to story time. Now the boys already started, but I know there's one other one I really want you to share, because oh my god, I can't wait to laugh. You can share whatever you like. Funny, sad, reflection. I'm gonna start. I got a couple in here, and one of them is a little, as I was writing it, I was like, oh God, but I did it anyway, so for what it's worth. My memories of Austin was mostly in a group setting because I loved having the boys over. Jet, Austin, Aaron, Jacob, Kyle, and Roman, of course, for Jet's birthday, but also anytime we would get together, we did. The time me, Jet, and Austin went rock climbing, the boys pushed each other in a good way, doing stuff like walking on a stiff rope, and stuff, and free climbing on the boulder that they had. I remember the day I sang the national anthem at Rancho here in Encinitas, and Austin actually came. And him and Jet, I forced them, and they came, and I think Jet was recording it, because when I told everybody, please take off your hats, I could hear Austin's voice on the recording saying, oh my God, she's so nervous. And I'm like, oh my God. So I didn't know this till I'm listening back to it. And I'm like, oh my God, he knew me. And he was definitely right, because it was not that great. The funniest group ones I can remember was, okay, so here's the weird one. Okay. The funniest group ones I can remember was one of the times we went to Magic Mountain. And Aaron was almost having a panic attack after the first ride. I was kidding, but not kidding, when I said I needed to give him a Valium.
I was sad.
So Austin and I looked at each other, and he looked at Aaron, and he was all, dude, just take the damn pill. It's gonna be okay. Then Jet piped in. Oh my God, it was hysterical. It took us about a half hour, but he took it and he went on every ride. It was a very weak pill, by the way, and that was the only ever time I ever done anything like that in my whole life, right?
It wore off on X2.
Okay, good. But here was, oh my gosh, let me see if I can find it real quick. But here's, I know you probably all can't see it, but this was Aaron after. It was hysterical. So come out and look at it.
It was a balloon.
And then this was the one where it was like the third time we probably wrote it, and Austin knew where the picture was going to be. So look at his expression; it's hysterical. So you guys have to look at that. Okay. Let's see. And then the last one was we did a spontaneous nighttime hike. We took right by my house. I think JP was there, but we got our flashlights and we had headlights, and we bundled up and we took off, and it was just the best. We took the best pictures of the boys that I think I ever got. So those are all my stories. I would love to invite any family members first, if you would like, and we would like. So come on over, because I think this is about the. No.
Yeah, go ahead.
We're gonna take a break and then come back and share after.
Oh,
Yeah.
we're taking a break.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we want everybody to go ahead. Sorry, I did tell them to say it, and then I'm all taking over. Yeah. So we're gonna go ahead and let everybody start enjoying the food, and get some find a seat, and then during the time we'll come up and people can start sharing at that time. So.
Hi. I don't know. I think we're starting off with stories now, right?
Yep.
That's what we're doing. Okay. I don't know. I have a lot of stories. I have lots and lots and lots of stories, but I don't know. I think this has been a really weird time. I'm so happy all of you are here. Thank you for being here. I don't know. I think that the best thing about my brother was that he was always a great brother. And I can stand by that no matter what he did, and no matter how he felt about anybody else, he was always a good brother. And I can stand by that, and I will forever. And I know that no matter what, he would always come to my door, and he'd always come and knock on my door, and he'd always tell me that he loved me. And he would always give me hugs no matter what the time was, anytime he was here. And he'd come and he'd go, but no matter what, he made sure that I knew that he loved me. And that's something that I get to have, and that's wonderful. And I know that it's been a lot of years for a lot of you, and I know that you all loved him so much, and it's so nice to see all of you here and to have all the memories that are here, because I know that a lot of you didn't see him as much as we would have liked to within the past couple years. But he knew that all of you were here, and he loved all of you, and I know that, and I hope that you all know that, because he could tell me that he loved me, and I know that he loved all of you. So, and one of the last memories I have of him was him coming to my door right before he left, and he knocked on my door and he was like, Haley, like, I love you, and I want you to know that I love you, and I do, and I hope that all of you do. But thank you for being here. And if anybody else wants to talk, you can talk.
Okay,
Okay, Aaron, where are you? I want the funny story. Yes, let's go.
Vincent's gotta tell this story.
Okay, where are you, Vincent? Vincent's recording.
Can someone switch for them?
You
He
can
needs to tell the story.
You can
Yeah, here.
record
I'll
and
switch. You can tell the
I want this story.
Do you both need to be there so I can record it?
That would be, yeah. That's okay. I can chime in.
Okay.
There you go.
What do you?
So first, I don't think I can tell a story better than anyone else, but I just want to thank Chris and Jamie for always welcoming me into your home through all the years and for having us all here today. So, this story, okay. So, what happened was, Aaron used to live in an apartment complex where there was a pool that we would visit regularly, especially on weekends when we didn't have school. So, Aaron brought a bottle of water because whenever we would go, we would stay there for hours and
5
hours.
hours, 4
5
hours.
hours, yeah. Sometimes even we'd sneak in at like 2 in the morning. But, anyways, Aaron brought a bottle of water, and so Aaron left to go do something. I forget what it
He went
was.
to the bathroom and he was upset I didn't bring him water.
Yeah, so he went to the bathroom, and Austin was upset that Aaron didn't bring him a water. So when Aaron left, what Austin did was he saw Aaron's water sitting on the outside of the hot tub. He then took the water, poured out the water into the hot tub, so then he had an empty bottle of water, and what he did was he then filled that bottle of water with water from the hot tub.
Me not knowing, being so thirsty, came back and started to drink it.
And he set it right back where it was
And
in
I
the
just-
first place.
Yeah, I saw this little corny look on his face, just this little smile, and he's like, "Tastes good." Being thirsty and a 14-year-old monster kid, I just pounded the whole thing, and that thing was gone in 30 seconds. And after I was sitting there, and these two were just Austin and Vincent were just laughing their ass off. I'm like, "What's so funny?" And they just kept laughing and laughing and laughing, and then eventually told me, and then shortly after, I think I threw up a few hours later. So that was, Austin loved to prank me and scare me, and there's tons of times over the years he pranked me. I think one of them, Laura, you don't remember, but was Jet. I think you still live in the same house, right, in Vista?
Yep.
Okay. Laura had it's a pretty big house just for you and Jet, so you had a lot of open rooms, and Austin, loving to scare people, decided he was going to take a break from me and go for Laura this day. So I can't remember what we were coming back from, but Laura had, a RAV4, whatever it was, a Toyota 4Runner.
Yeah.
And Laura, I think you came home with some pizza from Costco or something to feed us. And when you came in to bring the pizza, you had a bunch of stuff in the back that you asked us to help unload in the back of your 4Runner. So Austin decided, instead of helping to bring stuff out, he's gonna scare you. So he hid in the back of your 4Runner. Do you remember that? No? Okay, my memory.
Keep going.
He hid in the back of the 4Runner, and as soon as you opened it, he scared the shit out of you. So that was one of them.
That's the one I wanted.
The cat throws were another one. Jamie will remember that. You guys had a cat. Okay. Yep. And I used to sleep on that couch at age 12 or 13. And Austin, I think he's woken me up by a smack cam before. I think there's a video of that out there where he would wake me up by just smacking me in the face. You guys know what Vine was in the early 2013s? It was Vine. There was a smack cam. Austin recreated the smack cam on me. So that was one of them. The video is still out, and it'd be good to play, but we found it on his Mac. The other way I remember being woken up was the cat throws. And what that was I would sleep on the couch, and he would throw legitimately the cat at me as I'm sleeping. And I remember the cat landing on my face and waking up, what the hell? So that was one of them. And then another story I can remember, I think this is my favorite actually of all my stories, is you guys will remember this. Growing up, my parents weren't the, I guess, best financial spot, so we had a really, really broken down Nissan Altima. Have you ever seen the old black ones? It's really beat up. And it would always break down nonstop. And somehow, my dad, being the salesman he is, ended up selling the Nissan Altima. And little did I know, he sold it to someone that works at a quickie store down the street. So me and Austin walked in to the Quickie Mart, and I remember being 13 or 14, and Austin asking me what happened to the Altima right in front of the guy that had ended up buying it. And I was like, oh, I have no idea who bought that piece of shit. And I was just telling the guy, I was telling the owner of the store who had bought it, I was like, yeah, I can't believe Z, my dad sold that thing. That thing is a piece of crap. Whoever bought that is an idiot. And the guy in his Middle Eastern accent, which I'm Middle Eastern, I can say this, started screaming, you sold me a lemon. And Austin, through the entire store, walked out just screaming, you sold me a lemon. And to this day, up until even a few months ago, he would randomly message me, you sold me a lemon. So that was my favorite, and every time we'd walk in that store to buy like a Monster Energy or whatever it was, under his breath, he would just keep saying, you sold me a lemon. So I don't know if you guys have a relationship with the owner of that store anymore, but yeah, that Ultima was a piece of crap. So that was one of them, and then let me see what else I have written down. Yeah, that's for my memory right now, but there'll be more that will pop up. So if anyone else has something you want to bring up, I'm sure I'll remember some in the next 5 minutes that will just spontaneously combust. But
Come on back.
okay.
Come on back. All right, who's up? Come on.
Hello, everyone. Bear with me. Okay. Jamie and I met when we were like 10, 11. So we've been forever friends. We don't even say best friends, we just say forever friends. So, funny story, when she went into labor with Austin. Best story ever. She was really into researching everything. And I was talking with a friend how she always researched, which was the best thing. And she was really good at finding out facts. And I had helped deliver my cousins, and I had a high school friend that I helped deliver a baby. So I was really like I almost became a midwife. Long story short, we're watching movies, and Chris is there, and we're all sitting there, and I don't remember what movie we're watching, but she kept going pee. And I kept going, Jamie, are you sure you're not like losing your water slowly? She's like, no, it's usually like a big gush. Like, no, it's just like little. I'm like, okay. And we're watching the movie. She goes again. I'm like, Jamie, I think you're losing your water. She's like, no, I'm not. I'm good. Okay, it's fine. And then she went again. And finally, I had to work the next morning. So the movie was over, and so I was leaving. And I told Chris, I'm like, keep me up to date. And it was so funny because Chris called me right when they were going to the hospital, and he goes, you were right. Because they continued to watch something, and she laughed or coughed, and she ran to the bathroom, and she's like, okay, we're going. And immediately Chris tells me, you were totally right. And then in the morning they told me, they're like, okay, so he was born, and do you want to come see him? And she had people coming in and out, and she was like trying to breastfeed for the first time, I think. And I remember like being the person like, okay, everybody, go away. She needs to do this. And so we were in the room privately, and this is one of his other nicknames that he had when he was little. And I told her, I'm like, you know, my other godson from my high school friend looked the same way. He came out like just looking like an old man, like an old wise man, like seriously, like a little peanut, wise as all heck. Like he had this look on his face like he knew everything, like he was not a dumb baby. And so she came up with this, and she called him this forever, little man. He became her little man, because he never really looked like it until he started to get like more toddler and elementary stage. The cheeks filled out. And I remember always saying, you look like Ralphie, you just need to put glasses on from Christmas Story. But he was the cutest kid ever, and I used to babysit him a lot. And I called him Little Man. And he would be so cute because he knew, and all of you probably know him the same way, he knew how to get his way. And he knew he was good looking, and he knew he had a great smile, and his charisma is what always got me. He was so smart from the moment he was born, and he'd come up to me and be like, hi. I'm like, what do you want? He's like, you want some more snacks, don't you? And so I'd like sneak him all these little cute little snacks. We tried to keep it healthy, so we tried to, like, both of her and I, when we had younger kids, we tried to be creative with our food so that they would eat all the vegetables. But he'd be like, and he'd always want to taste my food, always want to taste my food.
So that's my story. I continued to babysit him, and he always would tell me jokes. Anytime there was a new joke that he found out through school, through books, through his mom, he would always tell me. And as soon as I'd come over, and the cat thing throwing on the couch, I'd come stay the night, and we'd just hang out all night. He also made my son interested in Star Wars, not just because of Dad. Every time he'd come over, he would totally babysit my kid, and so would Haley babysit my daughter. They both attached to my kids. And he got him into Star Wars, and he would give him his mask, his Darth Vader mask, and he would literally chase him around the house. And I would fall asleep on the couch, and every morning Austin would either throw a cat on me or he would throw himself on me. And he would literally just jump on me and be like, "Are you awake?" I'm like, I am now. But he loved my kids, and my son has so many memories, but he's too shy to come up. And my daughter has great memories too with Haley and Austin. So our kids grew up together, and I'm kind of his not real godmom, but I am his godmom by just being there for his whole life. But he meant the world to me. And just like my kids are Jamie's kids, her kids are my kids. We shared that. And so it's like losing a son from my best friend. So thank you for letting me share.
Okay. I remember this gentleman saying when he was ready, he was coming on. You're not ready? All right, I'm looking. I cannot be the only one here. No? Oh.
Hi, so I dated Austin from my junior year, and I wrote this poem about him, probably when I was like mad at him or something, but I just wanted to read it to everybody. I saw the pain and it left you insane. I'm sorry, my love, please believe. My mind is healing and my heart as well. I feel like my next actions will create a dream into truths that contain the depths of me and you. I love you so much, and it's hard to explain, but if you give me this chance, I promise it'll, sorry, I can't see it. I promise it'll be worth all the pain, because life has experiences, true, but why experience things half empty? Tell me how crazy your nights are, and I'll tell you mine. I want to be opened up completely with you, because I already am with a so-called trance. But again, it's up to you to love what I believe is true, or leave us, what is us, in an unordinary clue. Everything will be okay. Trust me, my love, you are more than true. You are more than true to our extraordinary truths of a love that completes a heart of fools.
Okay, Jet, you're up.
I'm not much. Ooh, well, okay. I'm not much of a speaker at all. I just play the piano. So, for me, it's I usually tend to do all the emotions through the piano, and that's kind of how I speak. So I'm sitting back there tearing up and everything, and showing my emotions through that. But I remember one time, it was our first time going up to Mammoth Mountain with Chris, and everybody was there. And so I remember they kept on making fun of me because we were trying to watch a movie in the back of the car, but I always had the earbuds completely sticking all the way out because I couldn't hear the movie at all because of my hearing loss. So I had to like shove that earbud all the way down, and they would just keep on laughing at me and everything like that. And that was one of the stories I remember. But let's see here. I was kind of there through some of the really hard times that he was going through with his depression and everything, and it was really tough to talk through because it was only one time, but I remember him calling me one night and we chatted for about like 2 hours, and it was just nice to know that I was able to help that day. And even though it was a tough time for him, and I wish I was more out there with him, and that's what I regret, I think, the most, was not reaching out as much as I wanted to, because I always wanted to help him. But the last time we really got to spend time together was I was really bored, and I did not want to work the next day at all. So I gave him a call one night, and I was like, you know what, I'm calling off of work tomorrow because I don't want to go in, and I'm going to Big Bear. So you're calling off and we're going. So it was definitely the last full day that we got to spend together. It was like 3.5 years ago, 4 years ago. And as much as I hate that it was so long ago, I still remember it as yesterday. And, you know, and driving up there, and then by the time we got there, he's like, hey man, you mind if I relax a little bit? I'm like, what are you doing? You know, just a little puff. I'm like, well, we better have a good day then. But I never got into that, but you know, it was just weed, so. But that's pretty much it for me today. If anybody else wanted to go ahead and share something, the mic's up here. If you want to, come on now.
Hi everyone. Austin was like my brother through marital status, as you can say. I am Cole's wife, if you guys haven't gotten a chance to meet him. He was a really long time brother of Austin, and I came into this whole thing, and the first time I ever met Austin was one of those first days back from rehab. And I remember Cole and I had only been dating for like 4 months. It had been like super quick, super emotional, and Austin had been like expressing how he wanted to meet me, and that was a really big deal to Cole. And I remember we got in Kevin Sammy's car, and we just drove down, picked him up, and I remember just the hug that Cole gave him, and it was just it was a hug that you don't see from many bro friends, like type of thing. It was a brother hug, and my brother is like 10.5 years older than me, so I don't really get that type of brotherly connection of that age group. But I could tell that this person was going to be such a big person in his life. I couldn't fathom it, of course, because I was just meeting him. I was like, okay, you just gotta look nice, just gotta keep it together for a quick second. And I just remember that day of Cole just looking so happy to see his brother, and even after so many years of going through this with Cole and with Austin, that Austin loved his brother. And it really showed, and it showed that, you know, I was always there trying to be like semi a protector of Cole, but also I knew that this was his brother, and that there was nothing that could ever separate these two. And even until like we were married, and we got married in September, and Austin was just so excited to see his brother finally get married and accepting me into the family as well. And I gained a couple of sisters along the way. I gained Alyssa, I gained Kayla, I gained Haley, and I don't have any biological sisters. And I have Jamie and Chris, who always made this place a home for us. And I think that anybody who's Austin's friend of like our age group can say that this is a place that we call home. This is our sanctuary. Many of us come from broken families, divorced parents, and this is our home. We can come here, relax, bitch about things, and it's okay. So I think that ultimately this will always be our home, and we'll always be here for Chris and Jamie, and know that Austin's here right by our side, and I see him every day. As much as it's painful for Cole to see, but as his wife, I see Austin every single day. And knowing to tell Cole that, you know, if Cole's in a bad mood, I'll be like, hey, Austin would be like, hey, suck it up. Like, you're totally fine. Stop being a baby, like, totally grow it up. And I have to be that person to remind Cole that, you know, Austin is here. Austin is present, and I think we could all feel that. And I think that is something that we will forever live with. And we were even talking the other day, because we want to start a family in the next couple of years, of like, hey, what would it be to call little Austin, like, around, and just be like, you know, that's our memory. And that's somebody who we always talked about. If anything was ever going wrong with our kids, we'd always tell Austin, hey, give a good talk. We need this. And so we'll always have this house to come back and be able to come and see Haley and be able to see Kayla and Alyssa and everybody else who gets to just come here. And I think that that's a big part of this house. So family will always be here if anybody ever needs it. You'll either have me and Cole sitting here, Haley and Chris and Jamie and the dogs, which is something different today. So we'll definitely be seeing them run around here. But I just wanted to say I love you, brother. And even though you were only my legal brother for a couple of minutes, I will always see you as my brother.
Anybody else want to
You know what I think we're going to do? Because I don't want to force anybody to speak if you're not comfortable speaking, but on that note,
ready?
come on up.
Thank you so much, everybody, for being here. And known to the family. I know Austin is here with us as well. My name is Max. Austin's always been a brother to me. And I just wanted to share, a couple things about him. Whenever I see Austin, he lights up the room. He lights up the space with a smile on his face. And just a couple things that I hold true to my heart, and give thanks for Austin for being there as a good brother and a friend. I was, going through some challenges, and I just needed someone to talk to, and Austin was there. He was just there like nobody else was, and when I didn't have anyone else to talk to, he was there. You know what I mean? And the last time that I saw him, I didn't know it was gonna be, the last time that I saw him. But I still feel him every day, and he gave me his necklace, and I hold it so close to my heart, right here. And he would want me to share that with everybody, just to remind us, that he is with us. We were driving. I was with a couple friends, and we were driving. It was a few weeks ago, yeah. And the traffic in front of me came to a halt. It just slammed on the brakes, and somehow I had the reflex to kind of like pull off to the side and not slam into the pilot right there. But I really felt like Austin was right there, looking out. I felt like he came down as an angel, and he helped us. He saved us. He protected us. And then I pulled over, and I jumped out of the car, and I hugged my brother that was with me, and I said, "Austin's here with us right now, man." And he says that he loves you and he loves us, and he said, "I'm sorry." He said, "I'm sorry." I'm like, "Bro, you don't have to be sorry, man. It's all right. We love you, man, and thank you so much for everything that you've done for us, and for always being here with us, and you're always going to be with us as a brother and a friend. And we give thanks, and we love you always and forever."
Do we have anybody else that wanted to come up? I figured, what, let's transition. Jamie and Chris worked really hard I think a family friend put together a video. And so we're going to set that up. It's going to be right here. If you can't see, feel free to just stand up and walk over, because I'm telling you, it is the